This is Hannibal from the HannibalTV.com at the Cauliflower Alley Club Reunion 2019 with Herb Simmons, who is a longtime promoter of the St. Louis area into Illinois. Southern Illinois Championship Wrestling is the company he owns. How are you doing today, sir?
Fine, really appreciate it. It's always a pleasure coming and seeing you guys, and I'd like to just say that the work you're doing is great. You're keeping the passion alive that we have all had for a long time. My hat's off to you.
Well, thanks a lot. And on some unfortunate news, one of your good friends passed away, Larry, not too long ago. Do you want to just talk about your friendship and what his contributions were to the wrestling business, because they were huge? He worked for all the top companies.
Yeah, Larry Matisek passed away this last November, and him and I had shared a relationship for over 50 years. We had some common things in mind, law enforcement, politics, but the glue that kept us together was the wrestling. Of course, he started to work for Sam Muchnick when he was 16 years old, the president of the NWA, and I told him last night at the awards banquet that he had two other jobs, and they lasted totally about a week because when he couldn't get off work, he wouldn't show up because he had to go to the wrestling matches. And he lived and breathed the wrestling until the day he passed away. His contribution, he was never a worker, but he was a promoter, ring announcer, did it all, and just was well known throughout the country. Jack Briscoe, Jerry Briscoe, the Funks, anybody who was in St. Louis loved Larry Matisek and Sam Muchnick, and it's going to be greatly missed. It's hard. As I told him last night, I tried all week to condense 50-plus years of friendship into about a 15-minute legacy. It was hard, but I think it came from the heart. His wife was there, did an excellent job, and we just our appreciation to CAC for honoring him.
And we will be posting your speech in the coming weeks, so fans, you can look forward to that. We're going to be posting all of the Cauliflower Alley inductions this year. The Wi-Fi is just really slow in here, so I'm going to have to wait till I get back to Canada. But another fellow that's been suffering some serious health issues, unfortunately, lately, he has a GoFundMe up. It's Superstar Billy Graham, and you mentioned to me you knew him a bit from his time in St. Louis.
That's correct. He was in St. Louis back in the day with Sam, wrestling at the Chase. I've got all of the results from when he wrestled there. What a great guy. He's down on his health issues right now, so anybody can go out there and help him out through the GoFundMe account. I mean, the man meant so much to the business. He needs all the help he can get, and that's what's so unique about the CAC. They help people. If you've been a worker in the business or ring announcer, referee, or whatever, this organization for 54 years has helped so many people that you don't even hear about. Superstar Billy Graham, I mean, when Larry got down on his health, everybody falls on hard times, and that's why I encourage everybody to join this organization for people like Superstar Billy Graham. I mean, the entertainment that he gave to all of us as fans is next to none, and I just hope that the people will help him through the GoFundMe account to help him get back on the road to recovery.
And Superstar wrestled Bruiser Brody, a good friend of yours, a couple of times. He always spoke highly of Brody anytime I've talked to him about their matches together. He said Brody actually was a little bit religious. They had some religious conversations, which I was interested to know about. But Brody's been in the news again lately because of this Vice documentary. I'm sure you've seen it. What did you think of it?
Yes, it's, my relationship with Bruiser Brody was not only business, but we had a great friendship through Larry Matisek and Sam Muchnick, of course. I was with, as I've told you before, we was with Bruiser Brody the week before he got killed back in 1988. The document, I think, was good. I'm a little concerned. It seems like sometimes when some people tell the story, it inflates, it grows wings. I've had people ask me my knowledge of what happened, and as I told them, well, if I ever get ready to write a book, then they can read it in that. But I think for the most part of it, Nobody really knows why. They can speculate all they want, but I think in the program that they did, Tony Atlas did a good job. He's coming in for me in June. People that was there would have the most firsthand knowledge. I was a little skeptical of Abdullah's response. It was kind of like, mum's the word. I mean, sometimes you gotta grow a set and step up to the plate, and I just think that it was a sad time in my life, my career. In fact, after that happened, I got out of it for about a year, and it was Larry Matisek that pulled me back into the business because Frank and I, Boozer Brody, were close.
The one piece of footage that I'd never seen before that they showed in that documentary was a clip of Carlos Colon's RF video shoot where he said that he never saw any knife in the shower, even though he was allegedly one of the first people in the shower. So that was a little bit disturbing to see his comments, which I don't believe were very truthful. But
I think it was a lie. I mean, I just think that if you're there, how do you not see it? I mean, and we can all speculate all we want, but I've had the opportunity to talk to some of the boys who was there, and I just think that, if you were there, if it went down the way that people are alleging it went down, why didn't somebody do something?
Why didn't somebody get one of the paramedics that are in this stadium while he's lying there? Because that was one thing that I was thinking too when I was watching that. Why didn't anyone administer first aid, just basic first aid? It seems like Tony may have been throwing a fit, but not doing really much to actually put pressure on the wound. And that's what I would have done. Probably you as a promoter, I would have said, well, let's put this show on hold. Let's focus on this guy's health until some medics arrive at least, but I don't believe that happened.
Well, and I mean, I think it speaks for itself. You have somebody, a top star. Brody made him a lot of money in Puerto Rico. I mean, I know the conversations that him and I had. You have a tragic thing like that happen in your locker room, and you allow the show to go on. And I've heard, oh well, they were afraid the fans were going to riot. That's what the police are for. You got a human life laying there. It's aggravating to think that, as you just said, that he was allowed to lay there for however long it was. If it was 5, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, and nobody administering first aid, that is very disturbing. And I just think that something could have been done. I wish I had the answers for it. It sounds like there are people out there who's still looking at it, but and then you get into the legal part of it. Why wasn't Gonzalez ever brought? They said he was brought to justice, but he wasn't found guilty. But there was people who didn't get notice. Poor Barbara Goodish, she gets called down there in a place that she didn't know anybody, and she's lived with that all those years. And her and I are still good friends, and we talk about it often. But it's just sad to think that happened because I think it could have been avoided. And then the speculations of it was over money, that Frank wanted part of the business. I know for a fact that's not true. I had conversations with Frank. I know the business that him and Larry Matisek was getting ready to start back then. I was asked to be a part of that on a small way. Not one time was it ever anything about him buying into Puerto Rico.
Did Barbara testify at that trial at all? Because usually they would have the widow at least provide some character on the person that passed away.
To my knowledge, she never did. Never did.
So it was very one-sided, even more so with the wife not even testifying her recollections of him as a family man. So that's one of the most angering things in my life, that story that will bother me forever as long as that guy has got away with it and he's not brought to justice, which unfortunately doesn't look like that's going to happen. But where can people follow you if they want to look you up on social media?
Social media, I'm on there. SICW.org is our website, or Herb Simmons on social media. I post a lot of stuff on there. Our upcoming shows. In fact, we're getting ready to do the Bruiser Brody, and this year we're calling it the Larry Matasek Memorial, which is on Saturday, May 25th. Barbara Goodish will be in for that. We got a couple of the other legends. Ronnie Garvin's coming in. Killer Tim Brooks. Hopefully his health holds out. He's been ill, but he worked for me thanks to Bruiser Brody back in the 80s, and he wants to come in and be a part of it. So, but yeah, I'm on social media. I'm the easiest guy to find, they say.
And lastly, I know you're friends with Bob Orton Jr. You're the one that hooked us up with the great shoot interview with Bob Orton. You guys can look up on the Hannibal TV if you want to watch it. But I'm sure you've seen this Plan B video that's out, and I'm wondering if you asked Bob at all if he remembers why they did it, because it seems a mystery. It's just being released now out of thin air, and very unusual video to say the least for that time.
Yeah, Bob and I have had that discussion, but I would, there was several of the boys that came out in the forefront, Plan B, and I think maybe we need to hook you and Bob back up again and get a Part B from him. Again, as you know, the business has changed so drastically. The kayfabe. And I tell people all the time, I'm going to believe what I want to believe because I've been a fan. I've been in the business now, a promoter. And I tell people all the time, who am I to tell you what you want to believe? I love John Wayne, and I tell them, if you want to believe John Wayne shot the bad guy or the Indians, that's what I want you to believe. I want you to come out and be a fan of professional wrestling because it has been around forever and ever. It's going to be there. I get questions asked all the time now about the new company that's forming with Cody Rhodes and how that's going to work against Vince McMahon. And I've seen companies come and go. And but I think Bob Jr., he runs my Ace Wrestling Academy now, and as you know, great guy, kind of like the Stan Hansens of the world and people like that. But and Bob, to be the one to tell you, he's not shy about telling you anything anymore.
Well, maybe we can look forward to that hopefully sooner than later, because he's a great guy and I would love to get his side on it. So thank you very much for speaking with us. Any final message for the fans here today at the Cauliflower Alley reunion?
The words that I would like to say, watch Hannibal TV if they can, because you guys are setting the bar. I mean, without the programs that you do, doing these type of interviews and looking at it from a different perspective. The boys can sit there and tell you, but when you're out there doing these interviews and getting the in-depth stories and the shoot interviews, I think is what fans are really interested. I know I am. Like I said, I saw the one you did with Superstar Graham, and I thought, wow, really brought back some great memories. So keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.